So
Sweet girl.
I hope everyone's primed and ready.
A little bit.
Always.
Everyone's primed and ready for a Puff and Prosper podcast. What's up, everybody? So we're actually deep in the heart of Texas again at one of my favorite facilities with these guys who started this company called Power Biopharms. I'm with Colt and Nick. These guys are the faces. They're holding it down. There's a ton of people still working tirelessly behind the scenes, behind the camera, to keep this operation going. So we're going to kind of dive into who they are, how they got here, how they're doing it in Texas, and what's new. So I'll let you take it away. You guys just kind of introduce Power. I kind of want to know just personally how do people wake up one day and say like, hey, I'm in Texas, I'm going to start growing hemp or cannabis or any of that stuff and playing this game. Like, how did you get there?
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
So I grew up in Dallas. I'm from here. Went off to school and came back. Kind of always loved Texas. Wanted to try to build business here. Went straight into commercial real estate after college and was doing that through the pandemic. Liked it just fine. Was doing great, but never always kind of knew I wanted to start something on my own. I just didn't really know what it was going to be. And then when COVID hit, it really just expedited that process. From like, all right, this is the time to figure something out. I went and immediately applied to get my MBA so I could try to understand more than just real estate at a deeper level. And it just happened to be about a year before that I'd personally found CBD, and it had really benefited me. And around that time too, I was really starting to open up to THC more and learn about it as well. And I grew up kind of wanting to be in medicine. My mom has MS. My dad has had 19 orthopedic surgeries. He used to be an athlete, and there's not great treatments for conditions like MS or really ongoing stuff for chronic pain. And I don't know. I knew it could benefit people, and I knew it was something that the government tried to make go away for a long time, and they couldn't. And now that it's opening back up, it's an unparalleled opportunity to get into the ground level on something that really helps people. So to me, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, badass. What about this guy?
I'm Nick. I'm the director of cultivation here at Power Biopharms. But I originally came to Texas for the service industry. I've been a chef for nearly almost 20 years. I'm originally from Fort Smith, Arkansas. There wasn't very many chef opportunities there, not very good. So I moved down here to the DFW area, was doing that up until COVID happened, went back for a few months. And at that time I decided I wasn't going to let the government dictate, my income, things like that.
Yep.
So I got with a local shop and told them, if you know anybody looking for a grower, anybody, starting a facility or an operation, to let me know. And the owner of that store got with me about 2 months later, told me about Colt, introduced me. And then, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah.
I can't believe that we're to this point now. We're almost 2.5 years, almost 3 years later, and we've created this machine now.
And the 3-year mark is such a telltale sign. And you guys are gonna breeze right past it, obviously. I like how you guys are taking off. I think I've seen it grow exponentially over the last 2.5 years. When I first met you guys, I met you at one event, I think. And then
down in
meeting
Austin.
you.
That's right.
So I've just been watching, from down south in Houston and stuff, and watching it grow exponentially, which is great. And I think the way that you guys harness Texas is super cool, because we're pioneering right now.
Right.
Well,
and that was like I was saying, obviously this industry is coming out of the earthwork or coming out of the ground, but in Texas, it's like we're late to the party, and there's more opportunity than ever. And I don't know that there's really any other state that has more pride for things that come from here and other people from here than Texans.
Amen.
So,
amen.
Yeah. And that's good little time to plug Martin House Brewery is one of my inspirations, but really, so like their little motto of like buy Texans for Texans was like that kind of like mindset is really what I was like, I want to be that for cannabis. Can
we talk about this? Like, what is this? And this can is like, this is probably the loudest thing I've ever seen.
That's why I love about Martin House. no one else thinks of stuff like that.
I've had experience with these seltzers too. And everybody uses the term like cannabis in a can or beer in a can, and like to literally make it.
Let me tell you, that's just alcohol.
Yeah. So
with
this
terpenes.
One is
That's crazy. That's what a great concept. Because when you're on a shelf with everyone else, how are you going to differentiate? Well, let's just be blatant about it. So,
absolutely.
that's
people
awesome.
are visual.
Yeah. The collaborations are cool. A lot of people are getting into that. I actually wanted to talk to you guys about that because like I think there's something else in this industry that I kind of feel. I don't know if you guys ever feel it with kind of the crew that you run with, but a lot of people are very like I think it's from where this industry comes from, but a lot of people have their doors closed and
sorry.
A lot of people have their doors closed and even their mind closed to like opening up, talking to people, collaborating, sharing knowledge even. So like the collaborations are huge. I wanted to get y'all's opinion on kind of the state of the industry, and how you guys have been over the last 2 years.
Sure. I'll just start with this too. I mean, I think there's kind of two types of collaboration in my opinion. You got kind of the inner industry and then you got the like cross industry, and like obviously with Martin House, like those are super interesting to me because we're so throttled on how and where we can advertise and get exposure on things. Tapping into whenever you can collaborate, work with someone who already has reach or exposure, or maybe they're not as limited. I mean, that's massive. And that's obviously a huge upside. But then also to your point of like kind of just lifting the curtain with other people in the industry, it's like we all really can benefit that way. And like when we stop trying to do everything on our own in our own little secret way in a corner, and if nothing else, just help each other all be a little bit better. Yeah, everybody benefits.
Yeah,
it's not as like there's a lot more business to go around, and if we're all better at it, we're all going to do better.
100%. And like even with my experience starting to become a grower, right? Like partnering with even Jeremy and doing things in Texas, like I've always had the mindset of the more we can all learn from this, the better, because eventually we're all going to come out the other side with good processes, maybe good genetics, good attitudes.
We all learn from each other.
Yeah, because I think at the top you're collaborating. The competition is so draining and stuff. And so I think like it sets an example too by y'all hosting me, having me. This is not my first time being here. And you guys are always welcome, obviously, to anything that I'm doing. And I think doing that, it sets you guys apart, I think, from the rest, because stealing audiences, sharing audiences, and then sharing knowledge and experience between companies too, I think is great. And it's something that this industry kind of embodies. And I hate that like sometimes there is this animosity and friction between us, between companies and stuff out there. It's just because I feel like we can all win, and I'm ready for everyone to win.
Exactly.
And that's kind of why I'm on this whole tour, like trying to drum everybody up, because I did see that there was a platform lacking. And that's kind of what brought me here to this show, if you could call it. We're just greasing our wheels, trying to get more knowledge out there about these companies. And you guys, I just wanted to highlight you. So, what's new? Because I know there's so much to keep up with. The industry changes so rapidly. Social media moves so rapidly. So
quick.
Maybe just lay it down. Give us an update on like what's the newest. I know we got the drinks here. We got some products, but what's new?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think at an industry level, obviously this is an alcoholic drink, but I think the infused kind of beverage world, that's finally, we've been hearing about it for a while. I think we're really starting to see certain brands kind of take off or get some more traction. And really what surprised me there too is some of those seltzers showing up in pretty mainstream type locations that I don't think that surprised me. Like a THC seltzer is the first thing to break in some of these places. But outside of that, the whole THCA craze is really, when I first started hearing about it, I couldn't believe, I thought that was going to get shut down immediately.
Yeah.
And it continues to ride. And, I'm sure at some point it might get changed, but I don't see it coming in the next couple months.
Right.
And that's something that we have now gotten involved in. And, we started blending our flour with some really high quality THCA flour to make a similar, like a 1-to-1 blend, like some of the gummies and other things we make that,
which I love that you say that, because mixing, for people that don't know this, mixing like a high CBD flour and a high THCA flour gives you an unmatched feeling, to be honest. Like it's like a little thing. I can't believe I didn't know it sooner either.
Yeah.
Even with gummies, like a 1-to-1 ratio, I didn't know it sooner. And
it makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference. Yeah. Huge difference. And people always like to see like 0% CBD. I got 50% THC.
Right.
I'm going to have the time of my life.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Yeah. The numbers don't matter that big. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, in some of these THCA strains, it's like, unless you smoke a lot, you don't need a full gram 28% joint. And you're not going to be like better off for it.
You don't?
Yeah. I'm not saying you don't, but you're gonna feel better and like more comfortable if you do like a 1-to-1 blend or have a little bit less of that. So.
Yes. We also advocate for responsible use on the Puff and Prosper podcast.
Yeah.
Now, so
21 and over.
what else is new? I mean, we got the THCA stuff and
The Delta 8 lotion.
Oh, a lotion? Power Relief. Is it powerful? I would assume anything from you guys is powerful.
I believe this one has what, 10% menthol in this one?
10% menthol. I looked on the market for the highest comparable menthol percentage, and we matched that. My grandmother used to go to the horse supply store, like the Tractor Supply, and get a veterinarian ointment for horses. So I don't think it'll hurt you too much, but it's great stuff. There's Delta 8 in there, which I think not enough people know topically how effective it is.
Right.
Not intoxicating at all. So it's, I can give that to anyone who's a first time user with the same confidence as a CBD isolate gummy, and just say, hey, if you got a spot that hurts, rub that on there and it's going to feel better.
Apply directly where it hurts. Absolutely.
And it works great.
So
I use it for my knee every single day.
Wow. Yeah. It's game changing. When you find a topical that works too, everybody always like just gets addicted and dependent on it. So,
well, we'd made one. Our first one was a balm, more oily based, kind of thicker, pasty type, and
not as much. I don't think we even put
no menthol. No menthol in that one. And I'd gotten a lot of customer feedback. People loved it, said it worked great, but it's too oily. If they put it on their hands for arthritis, they'd have to wash their hands before they got to work or different things. And so we'd been wanting to do this, but just took us a little time to get it figured out. But now I'm really happy.
Right on. Yeah, the world like needs more like effective topicals. I feel like topicals and oil sometimes you can get into the snake oil stuff where
real quick
it's too low for you, or it's just seed oil or whatever. It's not really CBD.
It's dosage so much, and there's been that because it's not going to get anyone high, and you can make a lot of them that are zero THC. That's the first stuff that got into the mainstream, and that's where customers were taking advantage of like a 5 milligrams, 6 ounce CBD topical, and people paying $100 for it. And then they're like, this feels like a normal lotion. And it's like, it is.
And I think the realization of what these cannabinoids can do for you when people are first time users and they try a topical on something that has just like been kicking their ass for years or for so long, it's persisting, and they try the topical and they get consistent with it and they see the change. It's like you own them. At that point, right?
Yeah.
It's like hand of God type of solutions for people. And it's crazy to see those realizations. Even my folks are in their 60s and stuff. They're just now trying this and they're like, wow, how have I not been using this for so long, so much longer?
Where's this been my whole life?
I love the idea or the concept of a really effective topical too, because I feel like that's the easiest way to lower the stigma or the fear hurdle for a new customer. It's just like, hey, this is very low risk.
Well, we cannot come to Power Biopharms, even with the pH, without talking about growing. So give us a little info on like, what have you learned, the trials and tribulations of growing in Texas?
That's a good time to crack the beer.
Let's do it. I'll try it. Sour. So it's a sour beer. I've never actually had
Martin House is known for their sour beers. This matched it was modeled after one of our gummy flavors, a prickly pear watermelon. Yeah, cheers.
Pretty good actually.
It's delicious. It's like a Jolly Rancher.
It's got that kick right at the end.
Yeah, well, it's not messing around at 8.4%.
Yeah,
I can feel my chest hair popping out.
Yeah, 8.420. We went to 3 decimal points to give the industry nod.
Hilarious.
So 420. The nod.
Hilarious. So I don't know if I could finish this and be able to drive, but
I'll be here, so you can just leave it.
Oh, for sure. But what's the trial and tribulations like of growing in Texas? Because I know you had experience, right? Or prior, right?
Yeah. So I've had experience in indoor growing.
Okay.
I mean, we're not an outside facility. We don't have greenhouses, hoops, anything like that. You know what I mean? But mainly it's just, I would say climate control has been my number one here in Texas, because it has the swings, it's so hot, July and August, we have the AC going full blast all the time, it's running nonstop. Other than that, I would say finding pretty consistent genetics in the hemp game has been pretty tough.
Always.
Because it seems like a lot of the genetic companies are just, they just pop it out. You know, they're not going a couple generations deep in their breeding or anything like
Right.
And the
that.
quality standard's so much lower when so many of the growers were putting it outdoors and they just, who cares?
Definitely.
It's just like it's all going to extraction anyway.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't care. So
Yeah.
you can definitely see the growers who put more love into their
Right.
products, you know.
Right.
You can tell.
Yeah.
But I would think the genetics would probably be number one. That's been pretty tough for us
I feel that.
to capture that.
Yeah. I'd say outside of that, like, you had great systems coming in, you knew how to do everything. And it's just like we started with 18 different strains and ran a table of each. So 2 lights of each. And that took us a couple cycles to get through all that. But real quickly was able to take off the table like most of them because they were just
A lot of them.
just out of control or immediately through like through pollen sacs or different things. But we got it down to 3 or 4, and then from there, you're trying to find like that right pheno, and not like unlike in more medical cannabis or medical marijuana where you can go get the cutting or basically
100%.
like more easily tap into work that's been done by others. That's just not there.
Yeah, and it's been around for so long, generations. Yeah.
And that's when we finally, it was just this year where I got a hold of another pretty well-known farm in the US and got cuttings from
Right on.
because we were just tired of dealing with it.
Yeah.
You know.
So obviously nobody grows smokable hemp or anything, but do you grow for flower? Would you say you
We're
grow for
allowed to
flower?
do that? You just can't turn it into a smokable
Into a smokable.
product.
That's what I mean.
in
But
Texas.
do you grow for flower?
Absolutely.
Right on.
And that was the intent all along. We have systems set up to be able to take advantage of the other revenue streams or just the fact that things are not going to go perfect every time.
Nope.
And you got to still be able to monetize however possible out of it. So, you can't really make a high quality rosin or a decent yielding rosin without using top quality indoor flower. So that was something we leaned into early on. But yes, it's all intended to be to be coming out as flower now.
Yeah, and that's a great transition because I did want to touch on the solventless and the rosin side. You guys doing that is such a differentiator. Obviously not everything that you guys do is rosin, right?
It's not practical for some products.
For some things, right? But having a full spectrum product like that, where you're basically just using the heat and pressure to extract and put it right into the product, that is untapped. I feel like in this industry. I mean, I know some of the bigger players are finally doing it now consistently, but for the longest time, like even 3 years ago, people were not using rosin. It wasn't cost effective or anything. People didn't have the machines or the knowledge.
Exactly.
So that was one of the things when early on when I learned about you guys, when I saw your presses and stuff, I was like, okay, their head is on straight, obviously, because I can tell by the way everything is in here and the way you guys act and conduct yourself. And then obviously when we went to the extraction room, it's like there's presses in here. You have a full spectrum rosin product and stuff like that. What made you make that decision? Did you always want to bring that in?
I'll answer real quick and then see what you said. But I tried to look at the other markets and kind of trends of the general industry as we looked at kind of like what we were going to get into and what we were going to try to establish early on. And solventless was really one of those things that was clearly like rising in popularity, and almost all the top price SKUs in the established markets were rosin based or solventless based. And I knew that even if it wasn't here yet, if we were just basically taking the time until it became popular to get better at it, and so that we'd be the best at it when the time came. Right. That was the idea. And then also knowing like there's other people doing large scale extraction. That doesn't need to be our game. Like, where is there also just less people with specialty?
Beautiful.
That's what I looked at, because we bought that press 2 years ago roughly. And I was like, what are we going to do? Where do we want to start? What products do we want to make? And we want to be this ultra premium indoor brand. It starts with rosin products. I mean, it's single-handedly one of the number one sellers we have too as well. I mean, the quality of that rosin, it just speaks volumes to the end product that's coming out, it helps break the stigma for people, because it's one more thing you could say, this is solventless.
Right.
We're not using
more
any
natural
chemicals. We're not using this. And then you could, I don't want to say persuade people, but you can nudge them to our market.
The guard comes down easier.
Yeah.
It's one of the few extraction methods too that's a bit more nuanced and like by feel. You know, it's there's come like there's an artisanal side to it
Yes.
versus like
It's like muscle
100%.
memory and all that into it.
yeah, similar to growing. So they kind of go hand in hand. Where it's like it helps establish ourselves, as the craft people and the like artisanal quality that it's harder to replicate.
Yeah, and it does start with the flower too. If you can't perfect that or even source good stuff that from someone who's perfected that, it's a lot more difficult.
Yeah, we thought there was going to be more opportunity in providing rosin extraction as a service for other farms and things. Right. Granted, most of the people who've reached out have been outdoor farmers, but we'd say send a sample and we'll try our best and see if it yields. And for the most part, it's just not
yielding.
There.
Yeah, it wouldn't be worth it for them. You know, it's definitely not cost effective for a lot of the outdoor, especially here in Texas. It seems like a lot of the outdoor grows for flower hemp. I'll call it flower hemp. It seems like it's just really, really dry. Really dry.
Yeah.
Really
dry. Not resiny.
Yeah.
You've also got issues with there's just a lot more exposure to contaminants, pollutants, and things in the outdoor grow, and that is something that solvents extraction doesn't remedy. Like if you send something through ethanol extraction and distillation, it can be covered in mold, and it's going to be great on the other side.
Right.
You don't want that, but obviously it'll be fine. But with solventless, you got to have a really good, clean starting material. So.
Definitely, it's cool to see the industry learning and getting more educated. People are becoming like hash heads, and they know what rosin is and stuff, and so. It's cool to see like as it's expanding, one that you guys are adapting appropriately, but also to just see more people, I think, having knowledge and being able to decipher all of the thousands of products that are out there and what they'll do or offer you, you know.
Definitely have to keep ourselves in check in that it's like we and connoisseurs and industry people have a certain level of language and there's things, but then there's like the general population consumers, and it's like where's that overlap of where there's this new thing is interesting and known to the general population, or they're even like ready to meet it.
For sure. It's really cool. Well, basically I hope everyone's learning from this. I hope everyone got a little bit more insight on Power Biopharms, who these guys are. How do you spell your name, by the way? Colton, right?
Colt.
Oh, not Colton.
It's Colton. Yeah.
O-N.
Yeah, my proper
O-N, like a man. Colton. Just had to put that out there for everyone to set the record straight. And I'm glad that having two Coltons in the room did not implode the universe or anything like that. So, no, thank you guys seriously for. I like to always have a section of this be gratitude. I'm seriously grateful for having to be able to host this here and rearrange your beautiful place really quickly and make an impromptu studio. And but anyway, just to like even grace you guys' presence, see what you got going on. It's inspiring even on my own accord. So I did want to just thank you guys for taking me on, being on this first rough season of Puff and Prosper. But we're going to continue to be on the forefront of everything to do with CBD, hemp, and cannabis, not only in the Texas market, but beyond. We've got a lot of more pioneers in this industry coming up on this season later on. So thank you for tuning in. This episode was brought to you exclusively by Power Biopharms. Don't forget it. Check them out on social media, on Instagram. They do a lot of cool content, and their website is beautiful, easy for you to go buy some of their amazing products. So check them out. And of course, like, share, comment, talk shit in the comments, whatever you want to do. You can talk about Nick's haircut, whatever. I know it's burning in your minds.
Those problems.
But yeah, leave us some love and some engagement. God knows we need it. The platforms are not going to help us out at all. And definitely subscribe to everything that Puff and Prosper's got going on. We got a lot more coming your way. So thank you guys, and thank everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for having us, man. Really
Have
appreciate
a good
it.
one.
It's fun.
Right.
Hell yeah, dude. I love the low stress podcast.